Mr Speaker.
Thank you. I call the member for Keppel.
Thank you, Mr Deputy Speaker, and I thank the member for Mermaid Beach for reminding us yet again that this is around Queenslanders' safety. A fair day's pay for a fair day's work begins with a fair and safe workplace, a workplace that is free from fear, free from intimidation, and free from interference. The Electrical Safety and Other Legislation Amendment Bill 2025 is a bill that goes to the heart of restoring balance on Queensland worksites, strengthening safety and delivering fairness for the very people who build our communities, our hardworking Queensland tradies. Because when we talk about workplace health and safety in this place, we are talking about Queenslanders' safety. We are talking about the carpenter in Yeppoon trying to get a job done before the rain sets in. We're talking about the electrician working late to make sure that a family gets the opportunity to move into their home that day. We're talking about small business owners across the Capricorn Coast who are juggling jobs, staff, rising costs, just trying to keep their doors open. And what they deserve, what they expect, is a system that supports them. Not a system that burdens them, not a system that intimidates them, and certainly not a system that can be weaponised against them. Mr Deputy Speaker, this bill delivers that balance. At its core, it does something very important. It repeals Labor's uncommenced information sharing laws, laws that would have handed the CFMEU unprecedented access to sensitive compliance and enforcement information. Let's be clear about what those laws would have done. They would have allowed the CFMEU officials to request enforcement notices, improvement notices, prohibition notices, non-disturbance notices directly from the regulator. Not just recent notices, not just relevant notices, but potentially decades worth of information, with no limit on the number of requests, with no limit on how often those requests could be made, and no clear requirement for those requests to be tied to genuine safety concerns. Mr Deputy Speaker, that's not about safety, that's about power. And the people who would have felt the weight of that power are not the big end of town. They are our small contractors. They are the subbies, the local tradies, the family businesses, the people who live in communities like mine in Keppel. Because what happens when that kind of information is handed over without safeguards? When we hand over that information without safeguards, we create an environment where compliance history, sometimes going back decades, can be used not to improve safety on site, but to pressure, to intimidate and to disrupt. I've spoken to tradies in my electorate who are deeply concerned about exactly that. They don't want less safety. They want clarity, they want consistency, and most importantly, they want to be able to get on with the job without unnecessary interference. Mr Speaker, the regulator exists for one purpose: to protect the safety of Queenslanders. Not to act as a data source for fishing expeditions, not to facilitate campaigns of coercion, nor to be bogged down in an administrative burden that takes away resources from real safety outcomes. Let's think about the practical impact. Every single request for information would need to be manually reviewed. It would need to be checked to ensure there are no personal details that are being released, to ensure commercial in confidence information is protected. And yet, under the legislation, there was no ability to charge a fee, there was no limit on the volume of requests. It was inefficient, it was unsustainable, and as it has been described by other speakers today, it was a blank cheque. This bill closes the door before it even opens. And importantly, it brings Queensland back in alignment with other states and territories, ensuring that our system is consistent, proportionate, and focused on what matters: keeping Queensland workers safe. Now, I want to be very clear about this point. The safety of Queensland workers must always come first. Every tradie deserves to go home at the end of the day. Every family deserves that peace of mind. but safety cannot be used as a shield for behaviour that undermines workplaces, damages productivity and erodes Queenslanders' trust. Because when our work sites become battlegrounds instead of places of work, everyone loses. Jobs slow down, costs go up, projects get delayed, and ultimately it's Queensland families who pay the price. I offer my thanks to the committee for their report and to the industry stakeholders, master builders, the Civil Contractors Federation, the Master Electricians Australia, who were all giving feedback and united in their support. They spoke about restoring proportionality. They spoke about reducing misuse of power, and they spoke about ensuring that workplace health and safety is about safety here today, not industrial leverage. And most importantly, they spoke about ensuring that when we balance Queensland workers' safety, we also achieve productivity. Because safety and productivity go hand in hand. Productivity is not just an economic term, it is the foundation of opportunity for Queensland families. When we achieve higher productivity, it means that there's more jobs, there's higher wages, there's stronger businesses, and there's better value for taxpayers. As one submitter put it, it's a win-win-win. Now, alongside these important workplace health and safety amendments, the bill also strengthens Queensland's electrical safety framework. It clarifies the long-standing ability of electricity entities to issue defect notices, providing certainty and continuity in a system that has been operating effectively for over 2 decades. It modernises the regulator's powers to prohibit unsafe electrical equipment, elevating those powers into the Act itself and ensuring they reflect contemporary drafting standards. It provides greater clarity, transparency and accountability in how those powers are exercised. These are practical, sensible reforms that ensure our safety framework keeps pace with modern risks. Reforms that give Queensland workers the confidence, Queensland businesses the confidence, and the broader community the confidence that our workers get to come home safely. Mr. Speaker, this bill is about backing tradies, not burdening them. It's about supporting small businesses, not stifling them. And it's about ensuring safety laws are used for their intended purpose, to protect Queensland workers. This bill will not enable bad behaviour. And that brings me to the broader point. This bill is ultimately a test for those opposite. Will they stand with Queensland workers and businesses? Or will they continue to back a model that has for too long enabled intimidation, disruption and inefficiency on Queensland worksites? Because the truth is, this is not an isolated issue. It's part of a broader pattern that we saw over a decade of decline. A pattern of giving more power, creating fewer safeguards, and turning a blind eye to the consequences for Queenslanders. Mr. Speaker, the Crisafulli government is taking a different approach. We are restoring balance, we are restoring accountability, and we are restoring confidence for Queensland workers in our workplaces. Because when tradies can focus on their work, when businesses can operate without fear, and when safety is genuinely about safety, our entire community benefits. And in regions like mine in Yeppoon, where construction, trades and small businesses are the backbone of our local economy, that matters. It matters for our jobs, it matters for our growth, and it matters for the future of our communities and our families. Mr. Speaker, I commend this bill to the House.